Today I'm just going to do a short video, another video on this little box here which I absolutely cannot stand, and one of the reasons for that is the audio is extremely harsh and very difficult to listen for any length of time. But there is a solution, and I found it through another used to be paranormal investigator. I don't want to talk about him, but back in the day he was very good with equipment, and he done a video one day and he explained that he found something that makes sound a little bit softer for some reason, and sometimes when you put a big speaker or a big amplifier, what already is a harsh sound gets harsher. So he used to use one of these, which is a little tiny hamburger speaker. Now it's a simple thing. They're a couple of pounds online, and they charge with a little USB port right there. There's a tiny little lead there that you plug into your device, and you have a little speaker. Now it's not a very powerful speaker, and that possibly gives it an advantage for some things, especially something like this. Now back on the original video where I got this idea from, he referred, when using this, to use it with your Radio Shack 12-587, and I bought one because of that video, and I never actually tried it on the S-Box. Now the S-Box claims a lot of things. S-Box didn't update software. I'm not going to go into that. I've already explained that in a previous video, but it does claim to have a very, very good speaker comparison to other small devices like this, and it does. But to me, that's where some of the problem is. I find it an extremely staticky, noisy box. I'm going to just turn it on for a second and show you.
Scanning FM.
You get the idea. There's a loud static burst there. But why don't we replace this little speaker with one of these and try it again? You plug in your speaker here, you switch it on. There's a 2-volume setting, so we're going to put it on high here. We're going to turn it on again.
Xbox. Scanning FM.
Now you can hear it is extremely soft. Hello. You don't have that loud burst anymore. Is there anyone that wants to speak to us today?
Stay on stop. Yeah.
Can you use this device to speak to us? Do you know who my name is? So there the yes there. Could you tell me why you're here today? You hair everywhere. Hair. Right, I'm going to turn this off. As you can hear there, no massive loud static bursts, and the sound was an awful lot softer. You know, and, you know, these little hamburger speakers, they're not very powerful, but sometimes when you go from a big speaker down to a smaller speaker, sometimes it can soften the sound for some reason. I don't know why it does that. And the previous person that made a video, you know, on this that I watched, he can't explain it either. But sometimes, you know, when we go out on investigation, sometimes we bring an amplifier box of one of those big, you know, a lot of people bring out those big Bluetooth speaker things, and it's bigger, the speakers are bigger and louder than their spirit box, and it amplifies the sound so it can be heard properly on the camera. But sometimes with noisier boxes like that, like this Xbox, if you put a smaller speaker to it, that harshness is taken out of it by the smaller speaker. Now, I don't know the science about it, like it says, but it's something to try if you do not like this box, like I didn't like the box. Certainly, you know, my mind has kind of slightly changed by using a little small hamburger speaker like that. It also, what it does is you can twist it and it sort of extends out that way. They're all over online for as little as £3 to £5. They're not, you know, they're not very much at all. And as far as I know, you can get them in a large range of colours, you know. But that is just a little hint that if you have one of these S boxes and you may be disappointed, and I know they're expensive, and you may have it and it's lying in a drawer somewhere and it's not being used because you don't like the harshness of it, maybe try a little hamburger speaker and it may change your mind. Yeah. Actually, another thing you could actually try as well is buying yourself a little Faraday pouch. They're not very expensive at all, that you can get online, and try get one big enough that you can put your S-box into and put it down there. And the great thing about the S-box is that the line out jack is right on the top of it, and you can basically plug it in. You can have it switched on, and you can fold over the top of the pouch there and run your S-box that way, and it sort of shields from it does shield from certain static bursts that it sometimes generates, you know. So, you know, on its own it is pretty noisy, but if you try out the hamburger speaker, try out the little pouch. Both of them are pretty inexpensive. In fact, when I ordered my Faraday pouch, I bought 4 or 5 of them, you know. So try out a Faraday pouch, and you know the Faraday pouch too will protect your little S box, because it is prone to getting scratched in that. And a little hamburger speaker, pretty handy for also the also the Radio Shack 12-587, also the PSP7 as well. You know, a pretty little handy little thing. It takes the harshness out of the sound for some reason, because it's a smaller speaker. And actually for the PSP7, this is actually a bigger speaker, you know. The speaker that's in the PSP7 is pretty hopeless as it is. But you can put them on key rings and you can have them around all the time. Handy little thing to have in your kit bag, and it can solve you a few problems when they arise, especially when it comes to things like the S box and its crackling, annoying, high-pitched sound, you know. One of the things that was thought to be a very good solution to a noisy radio was to fit a noise gate on the back or on the sides or whatever of a amplifier. Now that does take the harshness out of it, but many have said that by putting a noise gate on it, you're filtering out the sound, but also filtering out low responses that may come from the radio. And doing a lot of spurt boxes sessions with a noise gate, it turns out that actually is true. If you turn the noise gate fully up, you filter out everything and you control the amount that comes through. But if you filter out every bit of white noise, you run the risk of missing the low tone responses that are coming out of your box. Now, people say that there's other ways of getting around that, and certainly the Faraday pouch is one of them. If you haven't got a Faraday pouch, you know, I have this biscuit tin that I've been doing spurt box sessions with. You put your spurt box in there. You can run a cable out through a little hole on the side of it there, and run your audio speaker on the outside of it. And what it will do, it will cut down on interference, but it will also take away a lot of the radio channels that are coming in. Now, if you wanted some radio channels to come in, you can slightly open the box, you know, and you control the signal, you know, rather than cutting the sound to what you hear. So when you cut the sound to what you hear on the speaker end, you may lose some of your evidence that way. But I like using Faraday pouches and little boxes like this. Less radio comes through, but if something does come through, it can come through sometimes an awful lot clearer, because you're not going through a big load of radio that's coming through. It's harder to get evidence, but when it does come through, it can be a lot clearer, Do you know? So, you know, that is a little bit of solution to boxes like the S box. But certainly, you know, after a number of months of using this thing here, which is you know, a nice mighty piece of kit, I would be very, very, very careful on using a noise gate. Certainly if you're using a noise gate, you know, when I did use the noise gate, just letting some of that noise come through. Do you know, it certainly can turn down the harshness and that, but there is a big risk of you losing your evidence with one of these things, you know. So that is it, folks. I will see you in the next video.